The jungle was alive with strange sounds. The human named Daniel pushed his way through thick vines, his breathing heavy. His ship had crashed only hours ago. And already he felt the weight of the alien world pressing on him. Every tree seemed too tall, every shadow too deep, and every sound carried a hint of danger. Daniel stopped and listened. There it was again. The faint crunch of leaves behind him. Someone or something was following him. He tightened his grip on the small survival blade he carried, knowing it would not help much against a real predator. Still, holding it gave him courage. The air grew thicker, filled with the smell of damp earth and something sweet. Daniel's instincts told him he was not alone. His heart raced as he turned slowly, eyes scanning the trees. Then he saw her. She stepped out from the shadows with silent grace. She was tall, almost a head taller than him. Her skin, a shade of pale silver that glowed faintly under the twin moons, her eyes were large, glowing like molten amber, sharp and unblinking. Her long black hair framed a face that was both beautiful and terrifying. What caught Daniel's attention most were her teeth, sharp, glistening, the teeth of a predator. She smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. Her voice was low and smooth as she leaned closer. "You smell delicious," she whispered, her words rolling off her tongue like silk. "Your flesh must be so tender." Daniel froze. The words sank into him like ice. He understood the meaning clearly. She was not simply describing him. She was thinking about eating him. The blade in his hand trembled, but he forced himself to stand tall. Running would only make him prey. The alien girl tilted her head. Watching him with curiosity, she circled him slowly. Her movements silent like a stalking cat. Her claws brushed the bark of a nearby tree, leaving deep marks as if to remind him of her strength. Yet she did not strike. Her eyes studied him like a puzzle she could not solve. "You do not run," she said softly, her voice almost amused. "Most creatures run when they see me." Daniel swallowed hard. "I know if I run, you will chase me," he answered, trying to keep his voice steady. Her lips curled into a wider smile, showing more of those sharp teeth. The jungle around them seemed to fall silent, as if even the insects were waiting to see what would happen next. Daniel could feel the tension in the air. The line between life and death stretched thin. He had never faced anything like this before, yet he knew one thing: if he showed fear, she would pounce. The alien girl leaned closer again, so close that he could feel her breath on his skin. Her eyes locked with his, glowing with a strange hunger and something else he could not name. "You are different," she whispered. "I do not know your kind, but your scent is unusual." She inhaled deeply, almost savoring the moment. Daniel's pulse pounded in his ears, but he held his ground. A strange smile touched her lips, and she stepped back. For the first time, Daniel realized she was not simply a mindless predator. There was intelligence in her gaze, and perhaps curiosity. She could have killed him already. Yet she had not. That small fact gave him a sliver of hope. Daniel lowered the blade just slightly, showing he was not here to fight. He knew he had to speak, to prove to her that he was more than just meat to be eaten. "My name is Daniel," he said slowly. "Carefully, I am human. I did not come here to harm you." Her eyes narrowed, as if tasting his words. "Human," she repeated, her tongue curling around the strange sound. Then she smiled again, more dangerous this time. "Perhaps I will learn what human flesh tastes like," she whispered. Daniel's chest tightened, but he forced himself to speak again. "If you eat me, you will learn nothing," he said quickly. "But if you keep me alive, I can show you things you have never seen." For a moment, silence filled the air. Her eyes burned into his, testing him, weighing his value. Finally, she tilted her head and let out a low, musical laugh. It was not comforting, it was the laugh of a predator who had found something amusing. "You are bold, human," she said, circling him once more, perhaps too bold for your own good. Her claws traced the air near his shoulder, close enough to make him flinch. But boldness can be interesting. She stopped in front of him, eyes never leaving his face. "Do not run," she whispered. "If you run, I will hunt you, and when I catch you, I will taste every piece of you." Her words sent a shiver through Daniel's body. But he nodded slowly. He knew this was only the beginning of a dangerous game. One step wrong, and he would be dead. But for now, he was alive, standing face to face with a creature that saw him as food, and perhaps something more in the distance. The jungle howled again, but Daniel heard only the echo of her words. Her whisper was burned into his mind. "You smell delicious. Your flesh must be so tender." The jungle seemed to close around Daniel as he followed the silver-skinned alien girl. Her movements were silent, smooth like the wind slipping through the trees. Every step she took made him feel like prey walking beside its predator. Yet, strangely, she did not attack. She simply kept glancing back at him, her glowing eyes watching every breath, every twitch of his hand. Daniel gripped his small blade tightly, though deep down he knew it was useless. She could tear through him before he even raised it. The thought made his throat dry, but he forced himself to walk. He told himself that showing weakness would be the end. The alien girl's voice floated back through the air. Low and smooth, "You are not like the others I hunt," she whispered. "You do not tremble. You do not beg." Her words cut through the silence, each one carrying both amusement and threat. Daniel swallowed hard, trying to think of what to say. "I know fear will not save me," he answered quietly, "so I choose to stand." Her head tilted slightly, and a dangerous smile touched her lips. "Interesting," she purred. Circling a tree before stepping close again, she leaned in close enough for Daniel to see the glimmer of her sharp teeth. "I could taste you now," she whispered. "One bite, and your life would end." Daniel held his breath, but he did not step back. That seemed to surprise her, for she let out a soft, curious laugh. The jungle air was heavy, carrying the scent of flowers and something sharper. It mixed with the warmth of her breath as she continued circling him. It felt like a game, and Daniel realized she was testing him. Every glance, every word, designed to see how he would react. "You humans," she said slowly, almost tasting the word again. "Do you always fight death with such stubborn eyes?" Daniel kept his voice steady, though his heart pounded. "Sometimes stubbornness is the only weapon we have," he said. Her eyes gleamed. As if she liked that answer, they walked further into the jungle, the sounds of unseen creatures echoing around them. Daniel noticed how the alien girl moved like she owned the land. Nothing frightened her, not the growls from distant beasts, nor the shadows slithering across the trees. He wondered how many creatures had fallen under her claws, and now, here, he was walking beside her, wondering if he was next. After some time, his stomach growled, reminding him of hunger. The alien girl's head snapped toward him at the sound, her lips curling in a strange smile. "Hungry?" she asked softly, her tone teasing. Daniel opened his survival pack and pulled out a small ration bar. The alien tilted her head, clearly unfamiliar with it. "What is that?" she asked, her eyes narrowing with suspicion. "Human food," Daniel answered. "Not flesh, not blood, only food." Curiosity sparked in her gaze, and she reached for it with sharp claws. Daniel hesitated before handing it over, his heart racing at the risk. She took it, sniffed it, and then tasted it carefully. Her expression twisted, and she spat it out with a laugh. "Disgusting," she said, her voice echoing through the trees. "How do you survive on this tasteless dust?" Daniel forced a small smile. "It keeps us alive," he said simply. She leaned closer. her amber eyes glowing brighter. "But life is not only survival," she whispered. "Life is taste. Life is the thrill of the hunt, the warmth of blood, the strength of flesh." Her words made Daniel's chest tighten. It was clear she saw him as more than just a stranger. She saw him as a prize waiting to be claimed, and yet she did not kill him. Instead, she sat on a stone and studied him. Carefully, her claws traced lines across the surface, leaving deep scratches. "You interest me, human," she said slowly. "You are fragile. Yet you walk as if you are not prey." Daniel stayed quiet, his mind racing for a way to keep her attention without pushing her to strike. The girl tilted her head again, her dark hair falling across her glowing eyes. "I could end this now," she whispered. "I could silence you, and no one would know." Her smile widened, sharp and dangerous. "But perhaps it would be more fun to keep you alive a little longer." Daniel's grip tightened on his blade, though he kept his face calm. "Then keep me," he said simply. "Watch me, learn from me, but do not waste me." Her laughter filled the jungle again, soft but chilling. "You bargain with your predator," she said, shaking her head slowly. "That is bold, human, very bold." She leaned close, so close. He could feel her breath on his neck. "Do not forget," she whispered. "You are mine now. Whether you walk beside me or run ahead of me, the end will be the same." Daniel's heart pounded, but he forced himself to nod. He had bought himself more time. Though he knew every step with her was a step closer to death, the jungle roared with the cry of distant beasts, but Daniel heard only her voice echoing in his mind. It was not the words themselves, but the hunger behind them. He realized then he was not just surviving, he was playing the predator's game. A game he did not know the rules of, and if he lost, he would not simply die. He would be devoured. The night fell over the alien jungle, and the world was drowned. In shadows, 2 moons rose in the sky, spilling pale light over the trees. Daniel sat near a small fire he had managed to build, the heat giving him some comfort. The alien girl sat across from him, her glowing amber eyes fixed on him like a predator studying prey. The firelight flickered across her silver skin, making her look both beautiful and terrifying. For hours, she had not spoken, only watched. Daniel's nerves burned under her gaze, but he forced himself to remain calm. He knew every move, every word mattered. One mistake, and he would not live to see the dawn. Finally, her voice broke the silence, smooth and cold. "Why do you not beg me to spare you?" she asked, tilting her head. Daniel swallowed, his throat dry. "Because begging would make me weak," he said. "And you already see me as weak." Her lips curled into a sharp smile, her fangs gleaming in the moonlight. "You are clever, human," she whispered, leaning closer to the fire. "But cleverness does not stop hunger." Her claws tapped against a stone beside her, each tap leaving a thin scratch. Daniel felt the weight of those claws, even from where he sat, still. He did not look away. He reached into his pack and pulled out another ration bar. "This," he said softly, holding it toward her, "is food for my kind." The alien narrowed her eyes, curious again. "You offered this before?" she said. "It was foul, tasteless." Daniel nodded. "It is not meant to please," he said. "It is meant to keep us alive." She leaned closer, her amber eyes burning. "And why offer it to me?" she asked, her voice sharp. Daniel steadied his breath. "Because if you eat this, then you do not eat me," he said. For a moment, silence filled the air. Then her laughter rang out, soft and musical. "Though filled with danger, you bargain with me, as if I am some merchant," she said, shaking her head slowly. "You offer crumbs of dust, and in return you ask for your life." She leaned even closer, her face inches from his, her sharp teeth flashing in the firelight. What makes you think I will honor such a bargain?" she whispered. Daniel's heart pounded, but he met her gaze. "Because you are curious," he said, his voice steady. "If you kill me now, your curiosity dies with me. But if you keep me alive, you will learn more about my kind." Her eyes flickered with something amusement, interest, perhaps even respect. She sat back, her hair falling like a curtain of shadow around her face. "You speak boldly," she said softly. Perhaps too boldly. Her claws tapped again, but slower this time, thoughtful. "You are right, human," she finally whispered. "I am curious." Daniel exhaled slowly, relief slipping through him, though he did not show it. He knew this was not safety, only a delay. Still, even a delay. "Was life? What do you want from me?" he asked carefully. Her smile returned, sharper this time. "I want to know why your scent is different," she said. "Why it tempts me more than any other prey." Daniel's stomach twisted at her words, but he answered calmly, "Maybe because I am not just prey," he said. "Maybe because I am human." Her eyes narrowed, studying him as if he were a puzzle. "Human," she repeated again, tasting the word. "You speak it with pride." Even when facing death, the fire crackled between them, casting shadows across their faces. Daniel realized then that this fragile bargain had only bought him moments if he failed to keep her interest. Those moments would end quickly. He needed to show her his worth beyond flesh. Slowly, he reached for the fire, picking up a stick. He pressed the glowing tip into the dirt, sketching a simple shape, a circle. Then a smaller one. She watched, her head tilting with curiosity. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Showing you my world," Daniel said softly. "This is the sun, this is the moon, and this is Earth, my home." Her eyes followed his hand, her expression unreadable. "You draw pictures in the dirt," she said, her voice flat, "and you call this knowledge." Daniel nodded, his voice steady. "Knowledge is more powerful than not." "Claws," he said. "It is why humans survive." For the first time, her sharp smile softened. "Perhaps there is truth in that," she whispered. "But knowledge does not feed the belly." Her eyes glowed brighter, the fire reflecting in them. "And still, your flesh smells delicious." Daniel felt a chill run through him, but he did not look away. Instead, he leaned forward, his voice. "If you kill me, you will know only the taste of my flesh," he said. "But if you let me live, you will learn the taste of my mind, my knowledge, my spirit." Her claws froze mid-motion, her amber eyes staring into his. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then, slowly, she let out a low laugh. "Very well, human," she said softly. "You live." For now, her words carried both promise and threat. "You will walk with me, and I will decide if your bargain is worth keeping." Daniel nodded, knowing he had won only a fragile thread of mercy. But in this deadly game, even a thread could mean survival. The fire crackled, the jungle hissed with unseen creatures, and Daniel sat across from the alien girl, bound not by chains, but by a bargain of curiosity. He knew the danger was far from over. For tomorrow she might hunger again, and when that hunger came, his words might not be enough. The jungle was never silent. Every hour, strange cries echoed in the distance, and unseen creatures rustled in the thick undergrowth. Daniel walked carefully, his survival pack on his back, while the alien girl moved ahead like a shadow. She never stumbled, never hesitated, her glowing eyes sharp, her claws brushing against trees as if marking her territory. Daniel knew she was his captor, yet she had not killed him. Their fragile bargain still held, but he felt the weight of her gaze on him with every step. As dawn broke, a heavy mist rolled over the land. Daniel shivered in the damp air, his clothes wet, his stomach aching from hunger. He crouched by a fallen Tree striking stones together until sparks flew. Within minutes, he managed to build a small fire. The smoke rising into the mist. The warmth spread through his cold hands, giving him a little comfort. The alien girl stepped closer, her eyes narrowing. "You make fire," she whispered, her voice carrying both wonder and suspicion. Daniel looked up, meeting her gaze. "Yes," he said simply. "Fire protects me. It keeps away the beasts." She tilted her head, crouching near the flames, her silver skin glowing in the light. Her claws hovered over the fire, curious but cautious. "You shape the world with simple tools." She said softly, "No claws, no fangs. Yet you survive." Daniel gave a small nod. "Humans are weak in body," he admitted, "but we are strong in mind. We learn, we adapt." Her amber eyes flickered with something like respect, though her smile still revealed sharp teeth. "Perhaps your spirit is not as tender as your flesh," she whispered. Later, as they walked deeper into the jungle, danger struck. A beast lunged from the shadows, its body covered in dark scales, its eyes glowing red. It was larger than both of them, with jaws wide enough to crush bone. The alien girl hissed, her claws extending, ready to fight. But before she could move, Daniel acted. He grabbed a sharpened stick he had carved earlier, lit its tip in the fire, and thrust it forward. The beast roared as the flaming wood burned its snout. It staggered back, thrashing violently before retreating into the shadows. The jungle fell silent once more, leaving only the sound of Daniel's heavy breathing. The alien girl stared at him, her amber eyes wide. "You fought it with fire," she whispered, her voice carrying surprise. Daniel nodded, still catching his breath. "Sometimes fear is stronger than claws," he said quietly. "Even the strongest beasts fear fire." Her gaze lingered on him, no longer filled with hunger alone, but with something deeper: curiosity, respect, maybe even admiration. She stepped closer, her face inches from his, her sharp smile softer this time. "Perhaps you are more than prey," she whispered. "Perhaps there is strength hidden in you." Daniel held her gaze, refusing to look away. "I told you," he said firmly. "I am not just flesh, I am human." Her lips curved into a strange smile. And for once, it was not entirely cruel. That night, as they rested near the fire, she sat closer than before. Her claws traced idle patterns in the dirt, but her eyes stayed fixed on him. "You risked yourself to fight the beast," she said softly, "even when you could have run." Daniel shrugged lightly, though his heart still pounded from the memory. "Running is not always survival," he said. "Sometimes you must stand and fight." She leaned closer, her silver hair falling like a curtain around her face. "Strange. Human," she whispered. "You confuse me." Daniel gave a small smile, though tiredness weighed on his body. "Maybe that is why you have not eaten me yet," he said. Her laugh rang out softly, low and dangerous. But there was warmth hidden in the sound. "Perhaps," she said. "Or perhaps I am only waiting for the right moment, still." Daniel noticed her gaze was no longer filled with pure hunger. Something had shifted, fragile but real. The predator who once saw him only as food now looked at him with a flicker of wonder. It was not trust yet, not safety, but it was a beginning. The fire crackled as the night deepened. The alien girl whispered again, her voice softer than before. "Your flesh may be tender, but your spirit is strong." Her words lingered in the air, wrapping around him like a shadow and a promise. Daniel closed his eyes for a moment, knowing tomorrow would bring more danger. But for the first time since his crash, he felt a spark of hope, because strength, he realized, was not only in claws and teeth. It was in fire, in courage, in the will to stand, and maybe, just maybe, that strength was enough to change even the heart of a predator. The jungle stretched endlessly. its trees rising like towers of bone and shadow. Daniel followed the alien girl through twisting paths, his eyes scanning the strange plants and glowing insects around them. Days had passed since their fragile bargain began, and though she still looked at him with hunger, there was something else now too, something unspoken, something heavier than fear. One evening, they stopped by a stream that glittered under the twin moons. The alien girl crouched by the water, dipping her claws into the cold surface, her reflection broken by ripples. Daniel sat nearby, sharpening a stick into a spear, his hands steady, though his thoughts were restless. At last, she spoke, her voice low and almost reluctant. "There is something you must know, human," she whispered, without looking at him. Daniel glanced up, cautious. "What is it?" he asked quietly. Her eyes flickered, glowing in the water's reflection. "My people," she said slowly. "They are hunters, true carnivores. We do not see other species as equals, only as prey." Daniel felt his chest tighten, though he had always suspected the truth. Hearing it from her lips struck deeper. She stood, her tall frame casting a shadow across the water. "When I found you, I was meant to kill you," she admitted, her voice sharper now, "to take your remains to my clan, to prove my hunt." Daniel's grip on the spear tightened, but he stayed still. "And yet you did not," he said softly. "Why?" Her claws flexed as she turned toward him, her amber eyes burning with conflict. "At first, I thought to play with you, to taste your fear before the kill," she whispered, "but you did not run. You did not break. You stood." She stepped closer, her voice trembling with something Daniel could not name. "And then? You showed me fire. You showed me courage, and my hunger began to change." Daniel's heart pounded, his voice steady but quiet. "Change into what?" he asked, her lips curled into a smile, though it was not as sharp as before. "I do not know," she whispered, "but my clan. They will not understand. They will not forgive." For the first time, Daniel saw something in her eyes that was not predator's hunger, it was fear. Not fear of him, but of her own people. "They will hunt us both," she said, her voice heavy. "If they learn I spared you, they will see me as weak, as a traitor." Daniel drew a slow breath, his mind racing. "So this is the truth," he said. "You are trapped between your hunger and your people." Her claws scraped against the bark of a tree, leaving deep marks. "Yes," she whispered. "And now, because of you, I am hunted as well." Daniel stood, gripping the spear tighter, his gaze locked on hers. "Then maybe you are not as alone as you think," he said, his voice firm. Her eyes widened slightly at his words, as if no one had ever spoken to her like that before. The night grew colder, the jungle echoing with distant howls. She sat near the fire Daniel built, her silver skin glowing in the flickering light, her voice softened, almost fragile. "When I was a child, I was taught that mercy is weakness. That hesitation is death," she whispered. "Yet here I am, sparing you." Daniel crouched across from her, the flames dancing between them. "Maybe mercy is not weakness," he said gently. "Maybe it is strength." Her amber eyes locked on him, uncertain, searching. "You speak strange truths, human," she whispered. "Truths that could kill me if I believed them." Daniel leaned forward, his voice steady. "Sometimes the most dangerous truths are the ones that free us," he said. Her breath caught for a moment, and she looked away, the fire reflecting in her eyes like liquid gold. For a long time, they sat in silence, the jungle breathing around them. Daniel could feel the bond between them shifting, fragile but growing. She was no longer just his predator, and he was no longer just her prey. Something deeper was forming, something both of them could barely understand. But danger was close. In the distance, the sound of horns echoed through the night, deep and haunting. The alien girl's eyes widened, her claws digging into the dirt. "My clan," she whispered. her voice sharp with urgency. "They are near." Daniel's chest tightened. "They are coming for me," he said. She shook her head, her voice low and bitter. "No, Daniel, they are coming for us both." The fire crackled as the weight of her words settled between them. The hidden truth had been revealed. Her people would never allow her to protect a human, never allow her to question their ways, and now the hunter who once stalked him was standing at his side. Together they would face the fury of her clan. Asterisk, the horns echoed again, deep and haunting, rolling through the jungle like thunder. Daniel felt the sound in his chest, heavy and sharp. The alien girl's glowing eyes scanned the darkness, her claws twitching as she rose to her feet. "They have found us," she whispered, her voice trembling between anger and fear. Daniel gripped his spear tightly, though he knew it was small compared to the danger that approached. "How many?" he asked quickly. Her eyes narrowed, her silver skin glowing in the faint firelight. "Too many," she said. "My clan does not come with words. They come with claws and teeth." The ground vibrated with distant footsteps, heavy and fast. The cries of hunters rose, sharp whistles and growls that echoed across the trees. Daniel's breath caught in his throat, his instinct screaming at him to run. But her earlier words returned to him. "If you run, I will hunt you." He looked at her now, and he saw not just a predator, but a companion standing at the edge of betrayal and choice. "What will you do?" Daniel asked, his voice firm despite his fear. Her claws flexed, her eyes burning like fire. "I should hand you over," she whispered. "I should kill you myself and prove my loyalty." Daniel swallowed, but did not step back. "And yet, you haven't," he said quietly. "You've spared me every time." Her lips curled, her sharp smile more bitter than cruel this time. "You test me human," she whispered. "You make me weak." "No," Daniel said quickly. "I make you strong. You said yourself, I confuse you. Maybe that's not weakness. Maybe it's freedom." The sound of snapping branches grew louder, closer. Figures emerged through the mist, tall and silver-skinned like her, their glowing amber eyes fixed on Daniel. They carried long spears of bone and claws sharp enough to tear through stone. Their leader stepped forward, his voice booming across the clearing. "Daughter of the hunt," he growled, "why do you stand with prey?" Her body stiffened, but she did not step aside. Her voice rose, sharp and defiant. "This one is mine," she shouted, her claws raised. "He belongs to me." The hunters growled in unison, their eyes burning with rage. "You dare betray the clan for a morsel of flesh?" Their leader snarled, "You shame us all." Daniel's pulse raced as the hunters advanced, their spears glinting under the moons. He stepped forward, his spear shaking in his hands, but his eyes steady. "If you want me," he said loudly, "you'll have to fight us both." The alien girl turned to him, her amber eyes wide with shock. "You would fight them?" she whispered. Daniel nodded, his grip tightening on the spear. "I will fight beside you," he said, "because you chose not to kill me. And that means something." Her breath caught, her claws trembling. Then, slowly, a fierce smile spread across her face. "Very well, human," she whispered. "Then let us see if your spirit burns as brightly as your fire." The first hunter lunged, his spear thrusting toward Daniel. Daniel sidestepped, his training from survival drills kicking in, and jammed his sharpened stick into the attacker's side. The beast roared, staggering back as firelight caught the wound. At the same time, the alien girl leaped into motion, her claws flashing. Tearing through another hunter with savage grace, the clearing exploded into chaos. Daniel fought with desperation, every strike of his spear fueled by the need to survive. Beside him, she moved like lightning, her body twisting, claws slicing through enemies faster than Daniel's eyes could follow. Blood splattered the leaves, the cries of rage and pain. filling the jungle. But the hunters kept coming, more shadows moving from the trees, their amber eyes glowing like stars in the dark. Daniel's arms ached, his breath heavy, but he refused to fall. One hunter swung a spear, knocking him to the ground. The alien girl roared, her claws tearing the attacker apart before he could strike the final blow. She pulled Daniel to his feet, her eyes blazing. "Stay close," she hissed. "Do not fall, not now." Daniel nodded, his chest burning, his legs shaking, but his spirit unbroken. They stood back to back, surrounded by hunters who snarled and circled, waiting for the chance to kill. The leader stepped forward again, his gaze sharp as knives. "You betray your blood for prey." He roared at her. "You fight beside food. You shame the hunt." Her claws rose, her voice shaking with fury. "He is not food," she shouted. "He is more than flesh. He has shown me fire, courage, strength." She looked at Daniel then, her voice dropping. "He has shown me a truth you will never understand." The leader's roar shook the trees, and he charged, his spear raised high. Daniel braced himself, his spear shaking in his hands. The alien girl leaped forward, her claws meeting the leader's weapon with a sound like steel on stone. The clash echoed through the clearing, sparks flying as predator fought predator. Daniel lunged forward, driving his spear into the leader's side. The beast roared, staggering, but did not fall. The alien girl struck again, her claws raking across his chest, and finally he collapsed, the ground shaking beneath his weight. The hunters froze, their eyes wide, their growls fading into silence. They looked at their fallen leader, then at the girl who stood bloodied but unbroken. Slowly, one by one, they backed away, disappearing into the mist, their howls fading into the distance. The jungle was silent again, except for the crackle of fire and Daniel's ragged breathing. He dropped, his spear falling to his knees, his chest heaving. The alien girl stood over him, her claws dripping with blood, her eyes burning like embers. "You fought beside me," she whispered, her voice trembling. "No prey has ever done that." Daniel looked up, exhausted but alive. "Maybe I was." "Never prey," he said softly. She stared at him, her sharp smile fading into something gentler. "Something rare, perhaps not," she whispered. "Perhaps you are something else entirely." The jungle was silent after the battle. Smoke drifted from the dying fire, and the ground was marked with blood and broken spears. Daniel sat on a rock, his chest rising and falling with heavy breaths, his body aching from the fight. Across from him stood the alien girl, her silver skin streaked with red, her amber eyes glowing like molten gold in the darkness. For a long time, neither spoke. Only the whispers of the jungle surrounded them, as if the world itself was waiting for her decision. She stared at her claws, still stained with her clan's blood, and then looked at Daniel, her voice low and uncertain. "My people will never forgive me," she whispered. "They will hunt me now, as they hunted you." Daniel looked at her, his voice quiet but steady. "You chose to protect me," he said. "That means something. It means you are not like them anymore." Her amber eyes flickered, torn between pride and sorrow. "All my life, I was taught that flesh is all that matters," she said softly. "That survival is hunger. That mercy is weakness." She turned away, her voice breaking. "And yet, I spared you. I fought for you. I betrayed everything I was taught." Daniel stood slowly, stepping closer despite his exhaustion. "You did not betray yourself," he said gently. "You discovered something new, something stronger than hunger." She turned her gaze to him, her expression fierce and vulnerable all at once. "And what is that? Human?" she whispered. "Choice," Daniel answered simply. "The power to decide what you want to be." Her claws trembled at her sides, her breath uneven. "I should have killed you." She said, almost to herself, "I should have ended this before." It began. Daniel met her gaze without fear, his voice calm. "But you didn't," he said. "You saw me as more than prey." The night deepened, and the jungle sang with distant cries. She stepped closer, so near that Daniel could feel her warmth despite the cool air. Her sharp smile appeared, but it was softer this time. Less a predator's grin and more something fragile. "You still smell delicious," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "But now, it is not only your flesh I crave." Daniel's breath caught, his heart pounding in his chest. "What do you mean?" Hay asked carefully, her glowing eyes locked on his. Searching. "It is your spirit," she whispered. "Your fire, your courage. It tempts me more than any blood." She reached out slowly, her claws brushing against his arm without harm. For the first time, her touch was gentle, not threatening. "You confuse me, human," she whispered. "You make me see a world I was never meant to see." Daniel placed a hand over hers. Steady, despite the sharpness of her claws. "Maybe that is what makes us human," he said softly. "We see not only what is, but what could be." Her amber eyes softened, though shadows of doubt still lingered. "My clan will never stop," she said, her voice heavy. "They will come again. They will never accept what I have done." Daniel nodded slowly, his voice firm. "Then let them come," he said. "We will face them together." She stared at him, her sharp smile fading into something rare, a true smile, fragile and real. "You are either the bravest creature I have ever met," she whispered, "or the most foolish." Daniel gave a tired chuckle. "Maybe both," he said. The jungle wind stirred the leaves, carrying the scent of earth and smoke. For a moment, everything was quiet again, as if the world itself respected the choice she was about to make. Finally, she took a deep breath, her claws lowering, her voice steady. "I will not return to my clan," she said, her words sharp with finality. "I choose a new path, even if it means exile. Even if it means death." Daniel's eyes met, hers filled with relief and respect. "Then you are free," he said, "and freedom is worth any price." Her gaze softened, her voice almost a whisper. "Perhaps you are right, human. Perhaps freedom tastes sweeter than flesh, together." They turned away from the battlefield, stepping into the shadows of the jungle. The path ahead was unknown, dangerous and uncertain, but neither looked back. The alien girl walked beside him, no longer a predator guarding her prey, but a companion choosing her own destiny. And Daniel, once hunted, now walked with the one who had once whispered of his tender flesh. Her final words echoed softly in the night. "You still smell delicious, Daniel," she whispered, "but now, I think it is your soul I hunger for." The jungle swallowed their footsteps, leaving only silence and the promise of a story that would not end here. For in the heart of a predator, a choice had been made, and in the heart of a human, hope had been born.